The guard had been trained to recognize thieves. Thieves looked at exits. Drunks looked at floors. Tourists looked embarrassed when caught somewhere after closing. The barefoot man in the ruined red and black robes looked at none of those things. He looked at the weapon. That unsettled the guard more than fear would have. The weapon was compact, black, and built for station corridors. Its grip sat close beneath the barrel. A pale status line glowed along the side. The muzzle carried no blade, no bowstring, no visible powder chamber, and no mechanism Ren understood. But it was aimed like death. That part required no translation. The guard stood beneath the gallery entrance with both hands on the weapon and his shoulders lifted too high. His armored jacket was station gray, with blue security lines running along the chest. A hard collar protected his throat. A transparent visor rested above his brow. His face was human. That mattered less than his breathing. Fast, shallow, trying to remain controlled. Ren watched the man's fingers. One tightened around the grip. The other rested near a small switch. The guard spoke again. "Station security, keep your hands visible." The museum translator rendered the words into an old dialect with great confidence and poor judgment. "Official gate soldier, reveal obedient hands." Ren understood perhaps half. Official, soldier, hands. The rest sounded like a magistrate speaking through a cracked wine jar. He lowered his arms slightly away from his sides. Not surrender. Clarity. The guard's eyes moved over him. Long, deep red hair, warm tan skin, ruined old robes, bare feet, no identity band, no station seal, no visitor tag, a feather earring at the right ear. Behind him, the central display stood empty, except for a crescent of red-black dust. The guard swallowed. "What did you do to the exhibit?" The translator said, "How did you murder the displayed object?" Ren's brow tightened. He looked toward the dust, then back to the guard. "I woke." His voice came rough from disuse. The translator paused. A tiny blue icon spun above the nearest plaque. Then the system announced, "Statement uncertain. Possible translation, I rose from death." The guard's face changed. Not much, enough. Ren saw fear make room for suspicion. "That's not funny." The translator offered, "Your death boast lacks proper humor." Ren looked at the projection speaker, then at the guard. The future had built devices capable of speaking across centuries, and somehow taught them to choose the worst sentence available. The guard raised the weapon another inch. "Step away from the display." Ren glanced behind him. The platform, the dust, the empty case where the feather had been. He stepped away. The guard blinked. He had expected resistance. Ren stopped at a distance that gave the man space to breathe. The guard's weapon remained trained on his chest. "Put your hands on your head." The translator said, "Place your hands upon your crown in submission." Ren looked at the guard's posture, then at his own hands, then slowly placed them above his head. The movement pulled his torn sleeve back, exposing old blood, sealed wounds, and the faint red-black tracery left beneath the skin of his forearm where the cocoon had formed. The guard saw it. His eyes flicked toward the weapon display, toward the empty platform, back to Ren. "Are you injured?" The translator said, "Has violence damaged your vessel?" Ren considered the question. "Yes." The answer came too calmly. The guard shifted. "Who did that?" Ren looked past him. For one heartbeat, the museum was gone. Rain on stone, fire under banners. Master Shen standing with blood darkening one sleeve. Sister Ma's crane call breaking over the trees.
Old Han, laughing at men who had come to kill him. Auntie Cho, holding a copper cup beneath a broken hatch. Ren returned to the cold gallery.
They are dead.
The translator delayed, then said, "The attackers have been successfully killed." The guard's grip hardened.
Ren heard the safety switch move, a small mechanical click. The weapon's status light changed from blue to amber. The guard said, "Do not move." Ren did not. A red scan passed over his body from the guard's wrist unit. It moved from feet to head, cold and bright. Ren felt no breath behind it, no intent. The light touched him and reported what it knew. Human male, identity unresolved, no legal implant detected, no medical registry, no station citizenship marker, no weapon detected. Then another line appeared. Biological age estimate inconsistent. The guard looked down. 32? The scanner shifted. Estimate uncertain. Then again. Temporal degradation markers unavailable. The guard frowned. Ren watched his eyes move across the words. He understood none of them. He understood the man's confusion. Confusion was dangerous when holding a weapon. The security system continued. Unknown energy residue. Possible cultural relic contamination. Possible containment exposure. The guard looked at the empty cocoon platform, then at Ren. "Were you inside that thing?" The translator said, "Did the object swallow you?" Ren's gaze hardened. "No." The guard waited. Ren looked at the dust again, then corrected himself. "I was the object." The translator froze. The museum lights hummed. Then the system announced, "Possible statement. The subject claims ownership of artifact identity." The guard whispered something Ren did not catch. The word sounded like insane. Ren had heard versions of it before. Village men had used it for cultivators. Officials had used it for sect law. Nobles had used it for people who would not sell. The word rarely meant what it claimed. It usually meant, "I cannot fit you inside what I know." The guard touched his wrist panel. "Control, Gallery 7. Possible containment breach. One male suspect, human, no identification. Possible heritage extremist or unauthorized performer." The translator rendered the call in fragments. "Command hall, 7th gallery. Broken prison. One man. Human. Nameless. Possible ancestor fanatic or unlawful actor." Ren looked toward the ceiling speaker. "Performer?" The guard heard the tone, but not the meaning. "Stay where you are." Ren's eyes moved to the side. The holographic woman remained frozen beside the children's wing entrance, still smiling. The interactive red crane display continued looping the false empty step behind her. A reconstructed performer swept one arm high and turned with graceful emptiness. The guard noticed Ren looking. "Is that why you're here? Some kind of protest?" The translator said, "Did you enter to challenge the ancestral dance?" Ren's jaw tightened. The guard mistook the expression. "Easy." He stepped forward. Ren watched the foot land. Heel first, weight high. Too much tension in the forward shoulder. Weapon trained center mass. The man had been taught procedure. Procedure was not the same as readiness. Still, he was trying. That mattered. Ren did not want to hurt him. The guard moved another step closer. "Turn around." The translator said, "Present your back." Ren did not move. The guard's patience thinned. "I said turn around." The translated voice became harsher. "Offer your undefended back immediately." Ren stared at him. "No." The word required no system. The guard exhaled through his nose. "Sir, I am trying to keep this simple." The translator said, "Old stranger, I wish to reduce your difficulty." Ren almost looked toward the ceiling again. Instead, he studied the guard. The man's fear was shifting. Less panic, more embarrassment. That was worse. Fear wanted distance. Embarrassment wanted control. The guard stepped closer until only a few paces separated them. "Turn around and place your hands behind you." The translator said, "Turn and bind yourself for judgment." Ren's eyes narrowed. Judgment. That word he understood. "By whose law?" The old dialect came too quickly for the translator. It processed, failed, processed again. "Subject inquiry. Which owner commands this body?" The guard stared. "What?" Ren pointed toward the floor between them. "This hall. Whose law?" The translator produced, "Who owns the ground of this court?" The guard looked irritated. "This is a public museum on Meridian Exchange Station. Station law applies." Ren understood public. He understood station only as a place. Law he understood very well. He looked around the gallery. Broken sword guards, faded robes, a training sash displayed as costume, the feather called ornament. The empty step turned into children's exercise, the dead arranged for public viewing. His gaze returned to the guard. "Your law placed them behind glass." The translator said, "Your government imprisoned the deceased possessions." The guard glanced toward the cases. For a brief moment, something human crossed his face. Not agreement. Recognition that the stranger was not speaking randomly. Then, procedure returned. "Those objects are protected heritage." The translator offered, "The possessions are guarded ancestor property." Ren's eyes sharpened. Property. The word landed cleanly in both languages. The guard heard the change. He raised the weapon slightly. "That is enough." Ren lowered his hands from above his head. The guard stiffened. "I told you not to move." Ren's hand stopped at shoulder height. The guard's finger tightened. The weapon gave a faint rising hum. Ren felt the vibration more than heard it. Not bowstring, not powder, stored force. The future had placed lightning inside a crossbow and removed the courtesy of seeing the string draw. Ren's breathing slowed. The guard saw the calm settle over him and mistook it for defiance. "Hands back up!" Ren obeyed. The hum lowered. For several breaths, neither man moved. Then the guard said, "I'm going to secure you until backup arrives." The translator said, "I will bind you until stronger soldiers come." Ren looked at the weapon, then at the guard's free hand. The man was preparing to approach. His stance gave it away, weight shifting, left foot angled, weapon moving slightly off-center so the right hand could reach. He was nervous, but he was not cruel. That mattered too. Ren said, "Do not touch me." The translator said, "Contact is forbidden by threat." The guard's face hardened. Was that a threat? Ren answered, "A warning." The system translated, "A threat spoken courteously." The guard cursed. Ren looked at the ceiling speaker, then back at him. The guard closed the distance. "Turn around." Ren did not. The guard moved to Ren's side, keeping the weapon pointed with one hand. His other hand reached toward Ren's wrist. Ren watched the fingers come. The guard wore reinforced gloves. Small plates protected the knuckles. A thin strip of blue light ran across the back of the hand. Future armor. Human joints.
The principles remained.
The guard grabbed Ren's right wrist. Two things happened. First, Ren understood the grip. Thumb pressure too high, elbow slightly locked, shoulder raised from fear. The whole arm connected along one vulnerable line. Second, his body remembered being seized by men who had come for the records. For one sharp instant, the museum disappeared beneath fire. Ren's meridians tightened. The guard felt it. His eyes widened. Ren stopped the memory before it became violence. Rain on stone breath. Inhale through pain. Hold through fear. Release without panic. He moved 2 fingers, only 2. The index finger touched the inside of the guard's wrist. The middle finger pressed one line beneath it. A tiny turn, a breath of pressure. No strike, no flourish, no anger. The guard's hand opened. His forearm went numb. Then the numbness traveled upward, wrist, elbow, shoulder. The weapon slipped from his other hand. The guard saw it fall. So did Ren. The weapon never reached the floor. Ren caught it. The movement was quiet enough that the museum scanner marked him stationary for half a second longer than it should have. The guard stumbled backward, clutching his deadened arm against his chest. "My arm!" The translator repeated unnecessarily. "His arm." Ren held the weapon in both hands. It was lighter than expected. No bowstring, no visible quarrel, no blade. The grip had been shaped for one hand, but the weight sat strangely forward. A thin energy line pulsed along the side. The muzzle remained aimed toward the floor. Ren turned it slightly. The guard's fear surged. "Put it down!" The translator said, "Release the thunder crossbow." Ren looked at the device. Thunder crossbow. For once, the translator had been useful. The guard reached with his functioning hand toward his wrist panel. Ren saw the motion. The man expected another attack. Ren did not give him one. He studied the weapon's lines, the trigger, the charge chamber, the sealed barrel, the small vents. A strange metal crossbow without string or bolt. A weapon made by people who had grown tired of waiting for muscle to release death. He rotated it once, careful not to point it toward the guard. Then gently placed it on the polished floor. The guard stared. Ren nudged the weapon away with 2 fingers. Not far. Far enough that neither man could reach it without declaring intent. The guard looked at the weapon, then at his numb arm, then at Ren. "You could have shot me." The translator said, "You possessed an opportunity to kill." Ren answered, "Yes." The honesty frightened him more than denial would have. Ren looked at the guard's shoulder. "You will feel your hand again." The translator said, "Your limb will return from death." The guard's face went pale. Ren sighed. He stepped forward. The guard stumbled back and raised his functioning hand. "Stop!" Ren stopped. The man's breathing had become uneven. Pain had not started yet. It would. Numbness first, burning afterward. Then, sensation. Ren pointed at the guard's shoulder. "Lower it." The translator said, "Submit the shoulder." The guard looked confused. Ren demonstrated by lowering his own shoulder and turning the elbow inward. The guard hesitated, then copied him. "Breathe here," Ren said, touching his own ribs. The translator said, "Inhale through the damaged vessel." Close enough. The guard breathed. Badly. Ren shook his head. "Lower." The guard took another breath. Slower. The numbness stopped climbing. A tremor entered his fingertips. He looked down. "My hand." Ren nodded. The guard flexed one finger, then another.
pain arrived. His face tightened. Ren said, "Do not fight it." The translator said, "Do not challenge the pain." The guard breathed again. The burning eased from unbearable to sharp.
He looked at Ren differently now. Still afraid. No longer certain which of them had behaved like the dangerous man. The museum system interrupted. Security response unit approaching Gallery 7. Estimated arrival 48 seconds. Ren understood unit. Approaching. Seconds meant nothing. The footsteps in the corridor meant everything. More than one set. 4, perhaps 5. He listened. Heavy armored boots. One person lighter than the others. A wheeled machine or cart moving behind them. No, not behind. Across the service corridor. Ren turned his head toward the right wall. The guard saw it. "What?" Ren listened. The lighter steps paused. A faint squeak followed. Small wheels. Cleaning cart. The sound was ordinary, placed too carefully. The guard touched his numb arm and reached slowly toward his wrist communicator. Ren did not stop him. "Control," the guard said. "Subject disarmed me." The translator said, "The stranger defeated my weapon." A voice answered through the wrist unit. "Are you injured?" The guard looked at Ren. "My arm was disabled. Sensation is returning." "Is the subject armed?" The guard looked at the weapon on the floor, then at Ren's empty hands. "No." A pause. "Did he threaten you?" The guard's eyes moved toward the cocoon dust, the cases, the feather, the strange man standing barefoot among the remains of a dead sect. "He warned me not to grab him." The response came sharp. "That is a threat." The guard hesitated. Ren watched the hesitation. Good. A person could still stand inside procedure and notice where it bent. The voice continued. "Maintain distance. Response team has authority for containment." Containment. The translator rendered it as sealing. Ren looked at the crescent of dust around the empty platform. The cocoon had sealed him once. He would not enter another because frightened men preferred categories to questions. The guard saw his expression change. "Wait." Ren looked at him. The guard lowered his voice. "If you run, they will treat you as hostile." The translator said, "If you flee, stronger soldiers will name you enemy." Ren understood enough. He looked toward the corridor. The approaching team had spread out, one ahead, two behind, one covering the rear. Disciplined, better than the first guard. The museum doors began sealing in sequence. Glass panels slid over the exits. Red lines illuminated across the floor. The holographic woman appeared again. "For public safety, Gallery 7 is now under temporary containment." Ren looked at her, the same pleasant smile, the same empty voice. The future smiled while closing doors. That was familiar. The guard said, "Stay calm." Ren looked at him. "I am calm." The translator delivered perfectly. "I am calm." The guard glanced at the numb arm pressed against his chest. "Yes," he said, "that is becoming the problem." For one breath, Ren nearly understood the humor. Then a side door opened. Not the main entrance. A narrow service panel behind the children's wing slid aside by less than a handspan. The guard did not see it. He was watching the main corridor. Ren did. Through the opening, he saw one eye, human, older, watching. The panel closed. A second later, a cleaning cart rolled slowly across the glass wall outside the gallery. It stopped directly beneath the nearest security camera. The camera's view filled with folded towels, cleaning fluid, and one badly placed mop. The guard frowned toward it. "Not now." The cleaner pushing the cart wore faded gray work clothes beneath a dust-brown apron. Her hair was hidden beneath a station cap. Her face remained lowered. Ordinary. Too ordinary. Her right hand rested on the cart handle. A dull copper ring circled one finger. Ren's gaze sharpened. Copper. The cart moved again. As it passed the children's wing entrance, something small rolled beneath the door. The guard did not hear it. The response team's boots were too loud now. Ren did. Metal against polished floor. A cup. Small. Copper. It rolled in a slow curve across Gallery 7, past the false empty step display, crossed the red security line, and came to rest near Ren's bare foot. Upright. Empty. The guard looked down. "What is that?" The translator said, "Identify the vessel." Ren did not answer. He looked toward the corridor. The cleaner was gone. The camera remained blocked. The service panel opened again, this time wide enough for a man. Beyond it waited darkness. No light, no command, no visible hand urging him forward. Only an open road. Ren looked at the cup, then at the guard. The man had seen the weapon placed down gently. He had felt his arm returned instead of broken. He knew, at least now, that Ren was not trying to kill him. The response team reached the outer door. "Security, step away from the subject." The guard turned toward them. That single turn gave Ren the answer. Not permission, a choice. The guard could have pointed, could have shouted, could have closed the service panel. Instead, he looked at the empty cup for one breath too long. When he looked back, Ren was already moving. Not fast, early. He stepped through the service panel as the main gallery doors opened. The response team entered with weapons raised. Their scanners swept the room. Empty platform. Red-black dust. Dropped weapon. One injured guard. One copper cup resting on the floor. No suspect. The lead officer demanded, "Where did he go?" The guard stared at the service wall. The panel had closed. No seam remained visible. His fingers finally curled fully again. He looked at the cup, then at the feather case, then at the camera blocked by a mop no cleaner had returned to collect. "I don't know," he said. It was not entirely a lie. Behind the wall, Ren entered a narrow passage filled with pipes, warm air, and the smell of old tea. The world had changed. The hidden road had not.